Emmet Stagg. It's
good that we're having a debate on how to change our way of doing things so that we are more efficient, more transparent and more accountable. And this has been discussed, as everybody in the House at the moment, except Deputy Adams, knows. In fact, it was discussed at length over a long period of time in the Dáil Reform Committee. And could I just say it was discussed at the Parliamentary Labour Party at our thinking in Carton House, and I want to thank Deputy Tuffy for a very positive contribution at that meeting as well. I don't propose to go over the detail of this tranche of reforms or of area reforms that have been put in place, as this has already been adequately covered, except to say that the transformation from when I was first elected some 25 years ago is indeed very marked. At that time, government backbenchers were to be seen only, heard under instruction. Now, government backbenchers raise matters through question time, order of business, topical issues as regularly as the opposition. That I regard as a very positive development in keeping the executive to account. Backbenchers can no longer be regarded as simply cannon fodder. This is a democratic assembly elected by the citizens of this democratic republic, and I, for one, am very proud to have been chosen to be a member. Our job is to make law, to legislate and to keep the government to account. In the matter of keeping the executive to account, a large part of our sitting time is actually devoted to that objective. And as I have said earlier, it is not only the opposition deputies that do this, but also the government backbenchers. During a normal working day in the chamber, the government are made accountable by the use of private members' time, leaders' questions, questions of Taoiseach, questions to ministers, topical issues, order of business, and indeed on debates and legislation and motions. In fact, the space for making law, for legislating, is restricted, but the new extended sitting hours and days outlined in the motion before us will give some balance to that. In the matter of legislating, it is a reality in all democracies that the government of the day proposed the vast majority of legislation brought forward. There will be enhanced opportunities under the proposals before us to extend the time and space for legislative proposals to be considered from backbenchers and opposition spokespersons. Regardless of who brings it forward, the members of this House debate it, parse it, amend it, and either support or oppose it. Making law is a complex matter. First, the policy to be made law has to be decided. Heads of the bill are then prepared and sent to the government. It then goes for pre-legislative consultation, then to full drafting, then to all departments with their observations, and for final cabinet approval. It then goes through 5 separate stages in the Dáil and Shannon, and to the President, who can sign it or refer to the Supreme Courts. We'll now have a post-enactment report to the committee, this being part of the new procedure before us today. There are rightly severe checks and balances, and that is how it should be, as the lives and welfare of the citizens who elected us are affected and deserve no less. I don't foresee any significant change to that procedure, which is tried and tested over time. The biggest issue to be resolved is the amount of time to be provided for the passage of a bill through the different stages. It is not possible to allow debate to continue indefinitely, but it is necessary to ensure that all aspects of a bill are scrutinised and debated. Whether legislation is urgent or required to be law by a set date, then agreement should be reached on the maximum time available and how this can be applied so that no section of the bill is passed without debate or scrutiny.
1 minute.
We do this already with the financial resolutions arising from the budget, so we don't have to invent the wheel, as it were, to do it. This would also remove the possibility of political play acting, where all the time available is spent, for example, debating the title of a bill and resulting in the government being accused of bulldozing the bill through. I would urge all sides in the House to strongly examine this aspect of our legislative activity to ensure legislation passed is properly debated and scrutinised. There has been rather frantic calls in recent times for what is described as far-reaching reform. I have heard of no substantial proposals for such from either the opposition or the commentators who make the demands. The only constant demand is for a free-for-all that would lead to the regular defeat of the government. The reality is that the government of today has a majority support in Parliament, and without it, it would not be the government. The whip system is described by those commentators as dictatorial and a curbing of freedom of expression and actions. I've been a whip for many years, and the only power I have is that vested in me by the Labour Party parliamentarians, my colleagues. The Labour Party meets once per week and makes decisions on how it will vote on various issues. This is usually by consensus, but sometimes decided by majority.
Thank you.
I'm nearly finished, Elected Corley. All of these in that group who have accepted that decision are expected to vote accordingly, as would be the case in any organisation. If anybody decides not to accept the decision of the group, they are free to act contrary to the group's wishes, and some have done so. A great deal, Corley, has been done, indeed, since I first came to the House, to make the working of this House more effective. But there is still room for further action, and there's proposals from across the floor for that. And the kind of phrase, a lot has been done, but there's more to do. I commend the proposals of the House.